Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is part of the Altenew November release of the new stamps, dies and stencils, and they're holding a fun black ops and a giveaway. And what I'm gonna use for this layout is actually a couple of the products they're releasing. I'm gonna use two of the dies, the wavy outlines and also the mix and match mariposa, and one of the stamps that this is across the pond. So what my idea first of all to create this layout is I'm gonna take advantage of some of previous products that Altenew had released. And the wavy outline die actually matches the Wavy Roses stamp set, die and stencil. So what the wavy outline does is actually cut the same area that we would stamp with Wavy Roses stamp set. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create the background for these flowers, and for this I'm gonna use the stencil or the mask from the Wavy Roses stamp set, and I'm gonna use it as a template to add the color to my paper. And I'm using heavy cardstock. This is double cardstock, and I wanted something white as a base, and I'm gonna use the re-inkers. So the way I'm gonna go about it is I'm gonna use the stencil as a mask or as a template, and I'm gonna go ahead and wet the area. I'm just adding water to the inside of the flower that I want to create, and then I'm gonna, once I flood the area, I'm gonna bring some of the watercolor, and I'm using the re-inkers. This is purple wine. I'm gonna use purple wine and Sunkissed, and for my green tones I'm gonna use moss to create all my leaves. And all I did is, like I said, once you're gonna see that once I use the water just to wet the inside of the area that I wanna add the watercolor, then I go ahead and I just add a little drop of the re-inker and move it around with the brush. Super simple. I went ahead and created a few of the purple wine roses on their own, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create a few of the Sunkissed flowers on their own, and I'm just going through the stencil, just using it completely. You're gonna see that I'm gonna use pretty much, I'm gonna create like around 3 big flowers. I'm gonna create a combination of the 2 flowers together, a few small ones, and quite a few of the leaves. And you're gonna see right now I'm creating the flowers using Sunkissed, and all I'm doing is again using the stencil as a template, and that way I can add the water to the inside area of the flower. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and bring some of the re-inker and just help it to move around with the brush. Now that I created my orange and my purple flowers, I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing the colors. And all I'm gonna do is mix a little drop of the Sunkissed with a little bit of purple one, and it's gonna give me, I'm gonna say, kind of a really dark pink tone, kind of wine tone that I really enjoyed. And actually it was a nice combination of the 2 colors. And I'm gonna go ahead and, following the same method as using the stencil as a template, just gonna create a few more of the flowers, and I'm gonna actually set it aside to dry, and then I'm gonna use the Wavy Roses die set to cut the shapes. And the beauty of it is, because I used the mask as a template, it was easy for me to cut it with the die. And then I'm gonna use the wavy outline die, which is the one that is being released. You see the flowers there, to cut some of the flowers, the ones that correspond to each one of the images, out of metallic paper. I just want to bring some of that because I have the watercolor and it tends to be a little bit on the matte side. I want to add something with shine because this layout is going to be very simple. I want the flowers to be the ones that stand out. So you're going to see right now I've cut some outside of the camera, but I'm going to bring you some to show you what I did anyways. And all I'm going to do right now is, because when I when I use the stencil as a template, it kind of leaves some white spaces. I'm just going to fill them, and you're going to see right now that I use the Wavy Rose die set to cut the images that I watercolor, and then I use the wavy outline die to cut the detailed images out of metallic paper. And then all I'm gonna do, you're gonna see me right now, is I'm just gonna actually glue it together. And for this I'm gonna use my fine bottle glue, and I'm just gonna go inside of the, I'm gonna put the glue at the back of the wavy outline piece, and then glue it straight onto the flower. And this one I didn't cut with the die because I don't know, for some reason my die just didn't cut the edges of the flowers of the leaves, so I'm just gonna fussy cut it and have an extra orange flower. But that's about it. Super simple. Like I said, the advantage that I had, is that I had the entire set of the wavy outline roses that matches the wavy outline die. So again, I'm gonna make sure that I glue all the flowers together, and then I'm gonna clean my desk and come back to build the layout, and it's gonna take no time. This is what took the longest time to create the background and cut everything and glue it in place. Then the next step is gonna be a very simple layout but with a lot of impact. So let me just put this aside and I'll come back to show you what I did. And the first thing I want to tell you is that I did not want to use a white background for this. I wanted something that was going to make the flowers really stand out. So I'm going to cut a piece of this paper. I love this paper. This is from the Reflections kit from Altenew. And then I'm going to use I'm going to see like a kind of blush, kind of brownish tone paper for the background. And I cut around a 4-inch strip of the Reflections paper, that wood grain paper. And I want to use it kind of as the background for my layout. And you're going to see that all I'm going to do is set my picture. These are my kids and our baby dog. This is the last picture of them. They were just sitting and watching TV, and I said, oh, I was cleaning my cameras and I just took a picture of them. So now that I know how everything is gonna like when it's gonna stay, I'm gonna go ahead and glue my piece of paper onto my background. You're gonna see that I'm gonna use my fingers just to kind of fold the edges a little bit. I just don't want it to be straight on the paper. I want a little bit of movement. And once I have that in place, I want to bring a little bit of mixed media. And the way I'm going to add my mixed media is I just want something that is going to bring a little bit of texture without standing out that much. So you're going to see that I actually back the picture, and that is some foam adhesive behind it. And again, I use a paper from the Reflections kit, and I'm going to bring, this is the Feeling Dotty stencil, the same from Altenew, and I'm going to bring a little bit of yeso. And I'm bringing yeso. I could have used white acrylic paint. I just had yeso handy, and all I'm going to do is I'm using a stencil brush just to stipple some of the stencil on top of the stipple some of the yeso, sorry, on top of the stencil, just to create the impression. And you're gonna see that the impression is really subtle. It actually adds more texture and a very subtle look behind to the paper, and that's all I wanted, because I know that's the areas where I'm gonna add the flowers. So I wanted to have a little bit of I'm gonna see something that's gonna make them stand out from the background. Now that, and I said to dry, it took no time to dry. Yeso it dries really fast. And then once I have it ready, I'm gonna set the picture. Remember, I added a little bit of foam adhesive behind it just to make it stand out, give it some lift. And then I'm just gonna kind of create my clusters in a zigzag. You're gonna see, so I'm gonna put a little bit a few of the flowers behind the top right corner of the picture. Then the next cluster of flowers is gonna be on the bottom left corner of the picture, and then I'm gonna add a little cluster, I'm gonna say at the bottom right corner of the layout, and that's gonna create a zigzag on my page. And you're gonna see that I'm trying to go mix the colors together, but I want to add at the bottom just because it's gonna be on their own. I want to add something that's gonna be really impactful. So I'm gonna bring one of those purple flowers that I created, and I'm gonna match some of the orange just to create a small cluster there. Once I have everything in place, you're gonna see that I'm adding some foam adhesive in some areas, I'm adding some glue in another ones. They're just gonna help me create a little bit of movement on the flowers, not having some flat. And once I have that in place, I'm gonna actually bring the Mix and Match Mariposa die set, and this one is one that got released yesterday, because they got released at midnight, and one that you want to have, because the ideas that you can create your own butterflies. You have layering pieces on it. So the way this die works is you have the outline of the butterflies, but you also have the entire the inside of the butterfly, so you can actually mix and match them, and you can create different colors and different shapes with them. So what I've done is I cut the outline, the detailed outline, out of metallic paper. I'm using pink and orange for them, and then I use to cut the full image, I'm actually cutting out of vellum. I want that softness that it's gonna create, and then I'm just gonna glue them together and glue them around some area. I just wanna kind of bulk up the cluster. And I'm gonna keep at the end, you're gonna see that I'm gonna put a few, kind of create the movement on my page. So a few in the bottom cluster, and then kind of move them towards the cluster as on the picture. And then I'm gonna have a few of the vellum butterflies left, and I'm actually gonna layer this together and glue them around the picture one, and also around the bottom cluster. I don't have space to put it at the top, and I don't want to add much. I think that the flowers are doing a lot of the work for this layout. I don't want to overwork this layout. I love the way it turned out actually. Once I have that in place, I'm gonna use the Across the Pond stamp set to create my title, and I chose the one that says "You Shine." Like, I can't remember what the next part says, but I love the part that says "You Shine like a fine piece of jewelry." So that's gonna be my title. I'm gonna put it right in the center between those two clusters, and then I'm just gonna bring some stickers from my stash that actually match the colors of the flowers that I have, and just add them to like around the clusters that I created, and that's about it. I did not want to add any enamel dots or any gold drops because I think there's enough shine on the page. I love how this turned out. It was super simple to put together, and like I said, the advantage was that I had the Wavy Roses stamp die and stencil, so it made it so easy to put this together. But super easy to put together, and I love the way it looks. And don't forget to check out the new for all the new releases. Hop onto my blog to make sure that you check more projects, and also join in the giveaway. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.